Good morning, everybody. My name's Leah Gazan, and I'm the Member of Parliament for Winnipeg Centre. And it's so good to join all of you here today on the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples. And we're here to talk about reproductive rights, the right for women to choose. But we know there are many people trying to take us backwards on that right. We know that everyone deserves access to reproductive health services they need when they need it. Contraceptions they need when they need it. New Democrats have fought really hard to deliver free contraception for millions of Canadians. But we know that Pierre Poilievre at this very moment wants to take away free contraception from Canadians. He does not want people to have it, in spite of the fact that he has had his health care covered for many years on taxpayer dollars. This is shameful. This is something that women's rights movements and women have fought for decades. Access to safe, trauma-informed abortion care, access to contraception. Pierre Poilievre, it's clear, whether it's about this matters or other matters, he does not care about women's rights. He does not care that contraceptions is out of reach for so many people, especially now during an reach for those that need it. This is a matter of reproductive health. This is a matter of respecting the bodily autonomy of all people. This is a matter of reproductive justice. But yet, at the same time that he is going against the work of women and women's movements that have occurred for decades, at the same time, he has no problem throwing away $60 billion in corporate handouts, but he doesn't feel it necessary to respect reproductive rights and ensure people have access to contraception. Canadians deserve much better. They deserve a party with a leader that has the backbone to fight, uphold women's right to safe, trauma-informed abortion care, the right to choose, the right to contraception. And I am very proud to introduce the leader of the NDP who is fighting for exactly that. Jagmeet Singh.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Leah. Leah has been an incredible, fierce, and really lucky as the leader to have such an awesome critic there for so many people. And thanks to the women that are joining us today. We're here, as Leah said, to talk about reproductive rights, to talk about the right to choose, and ensuring that we tear down some of the barriers that limit women from accessing that right to choose. And one of those barriers, as Leah mentioned, is the cost of birth control. Particularly, we're here in Toronto, we know the cost of living is so high everywhere in the country, and it's particularly high here in Canada, in Toronto. We know that the cost of rent is up, the cost of groceries are up. And so for a lot of people, it has made it even harder to access the important ability to choose what you want to do with your own body. And we know that birth control is a fundamental tool to being able to have real access to the right to choose. On top of that, access to IUDs. And so New Democrats fought to make sure that birth control would be free across this country. For women to be able to exercise the right to choose, for people to have access to this, we fought to make sure it's free. But as Leah mentioned, Poilievre has clearly stated that he is opposed to pharmacare. He wants to fight this. And what that means is he is attacking a woman's right to choose. Because we saw just earlier last year, the Conservatives brought in legislation that directly attacked a woman's right to choose. And now, when Pierre Poilievre is attacking pharmacare and free birth control, he's again doubling down on that attack. Let us be very clear. Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives would take us backwards. They are opposed to women having the power to control their own bodies. Pierre Poilievre is specifically targeting birth control when he says he's fighting against pharmacare. Why would he choose to fight against pharmacare? That benefits rich corporations, that benefits big pharma, and it hurts women. It hurts families. So we've got a message for Pierre Poilievre. We're not going to let you win. We're fighting back. We're going to ensure that women have the right to choose. We're going to ensure that women have meaningful access to that right by ensuring that everyone in this country has access to free birth control. That's 9 million women that will benefit from this access. That's going to save hundreds of dollars for millions of women. In an affordability crisis, that is a significant difference. When you feel like you're drowning, that little bit of help will keep people above water. And we want to do far more than that. But I want to be clear once again, New Democrats believe fundamentally in not just the right to choose, but access to that right. And that's why we fought so hard to ensure there's free birth control for everyone in this country. C'est clair qu'on est dans une crise d'abordabilité. C'est plus que jamais difficile à rejoindre les deux bouts. Et aujourd'hui, on veut parler du droit important, fondamental pour les femmes de choisir ce qu'elles veulent faire avec leur corps. Et on sait qu'il y a une grande barrière pour accéder aux contraceptifs, c'est le coût, particulièrement dans une crise d'abordabilité. Et aujourd'hui, on veut déclarer clairement, on a forcé le gouvernement fédéral de mettre en œuvre une assurance médicaments et les contraceptifs gratuits. Mais Pierre Poilievre s'oppose à ce programme. Il s'oppose à le droit fondamental des femmes de faire ce qu'ils veulent avec leur corps. L'année passée, il a laissé un membre de son caucus de présenter un projet de loi qui attaque les droits des femmes de choisir ce qu'elles veulent faire avec leur corps. Et maintenant, il s'attaque au programme d'assurance médicaments, particulièrement les contraceptifs gratuits. Il a dit que c'est fini avec les conservateurs et il veut couper ce programme. On a un message pour Pierre Poilievre aujourd'hui. On rejette votre approche. On défend les droits des femmes et on va continuer de pousser le gouvernement pour garantir que ces contraceptifs gratuits sont accessibles à tout le monde à travers le pays. Je veux remercier toutes les femmes qui ont aidé dans cette bataille. On est fiers qu'on ait accompli cette victoire, mais il y a beaucoup de travail qui reste. Donc, on va continuer de défendre le droit et de garantir accès à ces droits pour les femmes de choisir ce qu'elles veulent faire avec leur corps. Merci. Thank you. With that, I'm ready to take any questions that you might have.
So we'll go to questions online. Just a reminder to use the raise hand function to ask your question and follow up. We will go ahead with Marina with the CBC. Please go ahead.
Hi there. This is a question for Mr. Singh and MP Gazan. I'm hoping you can both answer it. Air Canada has apologized to AFN National Chief Cindy Woodhouse Nepinak after the airline tried to stow her headdress in cargo. She wants airline staff to undergo cultural sensitivity training and for the airline to have a First Nations person on their board. Can we get your reaction to what happened and also to Air Canada's response?
Certainly. By chance, I actually met with National Chiefs right after this incident in the Montreal airport, and she shared with me how she felt. She felt disrespected. She felt that the ceremonial, culturally important headdress was disrespected, and she herself felt disrespected. And I think it's important to note that in a country like Canada, there are far too many examples where Indigenous people are disrespected in this manner. And so I support her call for a national policy to ensure that any airline in any form of travel, that this type of incident never happens again, that there's clear policies around the proper respect and care that should be given to ceremonial headdress and other materials that are carried by Indigenous people. And so I support the National Chief's call. I spoke with her right after it happened, and I reiterated to National Chief that New Democrats will support her. And I invite Leah to add some thoughts as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much. First, I'd like to send my sincerest sympathies to National Chief Cindy Woodhouse Nepinak for what she experienced. I absolutely, as the leader said, I, along with the NDP, support this call, particularly because we are talking about an airline that works with a diverse public, and it's their responsibility to make sure that anybody working for the airline is culturally competent and knows proper cultural protocols, whether it's with Indigenous peoples or all other peoples in this country. Canada is rich with diversity, and the airline needs to reflect that and respect that through action.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Was there a follow-up?
Yeah, sorry. On a different topic, video has emerged of an OPP officer telling protesters about the Prime Minister where the Prime Minister's whereabouts at an event that happened earlier this week. You yourself have had protesters come up to you at election events. Does this situation concern you?
Well, we expect that people that are working in law enforcement should be working towards keeping people safe, and that's carry out if law enforcement is acting as of this incident. So I'll have to learn more about the details. But I would say that given the really intense climate, absolutely be able to voice your concerns and express that you don't like someone's decisions or they're endangered. People should not be put, any elected official, I think particularly about people from marginalized communities, should not feel that there is a physical risk to their well-being entering into politics. I want to encourage more people to get in. I want to encourage more diverse voices being represented in politics. And if people are for harassment or violence, that's completely wrong and should not happen.
I see no more questions online, and I don't believe there's any questions in person. So this concludes our press conference. Ceci conclut notre conférence de presse. Merci, thank you.
Thanks so much again. Thank you so much to Leah for being here, our critic and member of parliament for Winnipeg Centre. And thanks to the women that joined us today. It's a really important day for us to talk about the fundamental right for women to choose and New Democrats' commitment to improving access to that right. Thanks so much, merci.